Who would have thought that someone so deeply connected to Red Bull, racing for 20 years, would be shown the door, just like that, right in the middle of the season? The Formula One paddock was caught completely off guard when Christian Horner's contract was cut short, setting off alarms throughout the motorsport world. In a surprise twist, the team wasted no time and brought in Laurent Mekies, the ex-team boss from Racing Bulls, to step in immediately. This isn't just another reshuffle, it's a major shakeup that could seriously affect Red Bull's stability. People are now openly questioning whether the team can keep its top form without Horner, especially when Max Verstappen's own loyalty seems to be wavering. And what's next for Horner himself? That's the question on everyone's mind. Horner's time with Red Bull was nothing short of iconic. He led the team from being newcomers to champions. Under his leadership, they claimed 8 driver titles and multiple constructor wins. His ability to build a strong team around key drivers, while also managing complex internal politics, made Red Bull one of the most feared competitors on the grid. But recent events have shown that no matter how strong a team looks on paper, tensions behind the scenes can tear even the best setups apart. While Verstappen was cruising to his 4th straight title in 2023, cracks had already started to form backstage. Some top engineers, like Rob Marshall, had started jumping ship in his case to McLaren, and the ownership wasn't on the same page either. Disagreements between Red Bull's Austrian and Thai stakeholders were becoming harder to ignore. Through it all, Horner tried to keep a united front. But what was brewing inside was far more serious than just routine workplace disagreements. As the calendar turned to early 2024, the behind-the-scenes tension began to show more openly. Whispers about unrest inside the factory grew louder, and people close to Max Verstappen's team started raising alarms about the direction Red Bull was taking. The sense of control that once defined the organization seemed to be slipping away. Then came the real jolt. A formal investigation launched in February into Christian Horner over alleged misconduct. Though he was quickly cleared, the damage was already done. The trust between Horner and the upper ranks of Red Bull had taken a serious hit. From that point on, everything felt different. Even if the public statements remained polished, those inside the garage knew the atmosphere had shifted. By mid-season, Red Bull was battling more than just on-track rivals. Key technical names like Adrian Newey and Jonathan Wheatley announced they were stepping away. These exits added to a growing sense of instability within the team. Meanwhile, other contenders like McLaren and Ferrari were closing the performance gap, and suddenly, Red Bull didn't seem untouchable anymore. Speculation started swirling around Verstappen's future too. For someone used to dominating, the team's recent direction was frustrating. Reports hinted that he was exploring his options, fueled by concerns over how Red Bull was being run and whether it could still deliver a winning car. While Horner did everything he could to steady the ship, the cracks kept widening, and this time, they were visible for all to see. Late 2024 into early 2025 saw tensions boiling over. The battle between the two ownership camps, Austrian and Thai, intensified, becoming a power struggle that bled into daily operations. Longtime allies of Horner began losing confidence as performance slipped and Verstappen's frustrations grew louder. Red Bull, once a model of unity and dominance, now looked like a team caught in its own storm. By the summer of 2025, things reached a breaking point. Red Bull arrived at the British Grand Prix under heavy pressure, and the results did nothing to ease it. Verstappen finished a distant 5th, far below expectations, while his teammate Yuki Tsunoda failed to add any points. It was a performance that left the garage in silence and forced the top brass to call urgent meetings. Inside Red Bull's headquarters at Milton Keynes, high-stakes discussions took place behind closed doors. Influential figures like Uvidia, Mark Metaseats, and Oliver Mintzlaff gathered to make a tough call. After hours of debate, they reached a clear verdict. It was time to make a change at the very top. On July 9, 2025, the team made it official. Christian Horner's time at Red Bull Racing had come to a sudden halt. After 2 decades of shaping the team into a title-winning machine, he was shown the exit, not with celebration, but with a quiet and carefully worded statement. The team thanked him for his service and acknowledged his vital role in their long run of success. Mintzlaff added his own words, praising Horner for building one of Formula One's most respected teams. But behind the formality, the message was clear. The organization was heading in a new direction, and Horner no longer fit into that plan. Laurent Mekies stepped in right away, taking over operations of a team still reeling from months of internal conflict. He inherits a setup that is not only fractured but also facing an uncertain future, especially with new 2026 regulations on the horizon. Even as Red Bull tried to turn the page, one big question refused to fade. What would Horner do next? The paddock didn't have to wait long before speculation kicked off about where he might end up. As the news settled, attention quickly shifted to Horner's next possible move. Whispers linking him to Ferrari grew louder with each passing day. Despite having a decent run in the constructors' standings, Ferrari had yet to taste victory in 2025 and continued to fall behind McLaren. That ongoing dry spell, along with mounting pressure from fans and media, had placed team boss Fred Vasseur under the spotlight. Insiders within Italian motorsport circles began hinting that Ferrari's top leadership was quietly exploring new options, and Horner's name topped the list. While it might sound like a dramatic shift, the idea wasn't new. Back in late 2022, Red Bull's advisor Helmut Marko had publicly revealed that Horner was very close to accepting a Ferrari offer before being convinced to stay. Marko even admitted that keeping Horner back then had cost Red Bull millions in added incentives. Now that the ties between Horner and Red Bull were officially severed, a move to Ferrari seemed more realistic than ever. For years, Horner had commented on Ferrari's internal challenges. He often pointed out how the team's decisions were slowed down by too much influence from politics, both inside the company and from the intense Italian media pressure. He always felt that Ferrari's biggest obstacle was its identity, trying to function as a national symbol rather than a flexible racing team. Horner argued that they needed to act faster, take bold decisions, and focus less on tradition and more on efficiency, a mindset he had championed at Red Bull for years. If Ferrari were to land him now, there's no doubt what his first task would be: build a system that responds quickly, makes firm choices, and doesn't hesitate. That's how he led Red Bull to the top. And that's exactly what Ferrari has been missing for over a decade. Despite the increasing noise around Ferrari's interest, Horner has remained tight-lipped. Just weeks before his exit at the Spanish Grand Prix, he brushed off all speculation and firmly repeated his commitment to Red Bull. But the landscape has shifted. With no official ties holding him back, Horner now finds himself at a rare crossroads, one that could lead to retirement, a temporary pause, or a major comeback at the helm of another top team. Meanwhile, Verstappen's future is also hanging. In the balance, the Dutch driver, who once seemed unshakably tied to Red Bull, now appears uncertain. His management team recently voiced disappointment over Horner's departure, and concerns about the team's long-term vision have only grown louder. There's a very real possibility that Verstappen, too, may start exploring new opportunities. If confidence in Red Bull's direction continues to erode, all of this paints a picture of a team in flux. The loss of a central figure like Horner, combined with technical exits and driver unrest, signals a major shift. How Red Bull handles this moment will define not just its 2026 season, but possibly the next several years of its F1 legacy. Upcoming Belgian Grand Prix won't just be another event on the calendar. It will be the first true test of Red Bull's ability to function without the person who built its foundation. All eyes will be watching how Laurent Mekies handles the pressure and whether the team can remain competitive under this new leadership. As for Horner, whether he finds himself leading Ferrari or choosing to take a step back, one thing is certain: his story in Formula One is far from over. His departure from Red Bull doesn't just close a chapter, it opens the door to an entirely new one, with massive implications for the sport as a whole. So, what's next? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear: Formula One may never be the same again.